What's going on, Cancer? I salute the divinity in you, and welcome to the Chariot Friends. Justin here. How you feeling? Feeling enthusiastic? Feel that fire energy of cooking? The moon's in Sag. I like a good moon in Sag. I mean, granted, this is lighting up like all my Leo placements, so this is I feel like always a really fun time when we get into Sagittarius, a time to get the energies moving to kind of help us now that we've processed what was going on in Scorpio. Where do we want to go for that? Where we're aiming that arrow at, and bam, hitting that mark. But we'll get into that and more. But before we jump into that, if you're new here, again, welcome. My name is Justin. And now that when you come across this video, you're in sync with the moon, and she loves that. This is also a place where if you happen to have Cancer in your placements, Sun, Moon, Rising, maybe Jupiter, wherever, this one's for you. And I do tarot card spreads. And actually, and if you just want to sync up with the moon too, she's here for you. Cancer's here for you. We love the company. And I do tarot card spreads based on our ruler here, the good old moon. And I'll talk about what sign she's in, what phase she's in, and when she's going void of course, just all them lunar shenanigans. And just so y'all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what fits into your story, discard the rest, and everything will be dope, Cancer. Now, let's jump into it. Because yes, this is a lovely energy. And I feel too, just because she's in a sign that Big Papa rules, like how could you not feel great in this energy? Well, you know what, if you got like Virgo placements and Pisces placements, that might be a little trickiness. So that could be how. But we're going to work with these energies, I promise. But before we get into that, I'm going to shuffle your cards here. Depending on when you're watching this, excuse me, happy Sunday. The sun is associated with Sundays. And this is a great day for doing things that can make you shine. I feel if you want to do any sort of like presentations, thanks Spirit. Maybe, I mean, you could want to do a presentation on a Sunday. But if you, even too, maybe you wanted to do a presentation during the sun hours, that could be something to kind of play around with. This is can be a time for like recognition and really kind of shining your light. I feel too the sun is our life force. This is what fuels this body. And so really kind of checking in with your energies. I find this could be a great time to maybe schedule like a doctor's appointment or just like a little checkup, maybe doing some sort of like energy healing. Maybe you're looking into acupuncture, maybe some Reiki healing, maybe some massage therapy. That's something. I had an intention for that later. But whatever that's looking like. I also like to do too, this could be a time where, when I'm talking about these days and these energies, working with like even like the colors of maybe wearing that kind of solar energy. So maybe we're thinking like golds and yellows, things along those lines. Look into that when we're like, I remember like one of the first books I got when I was looking or really kind of diving into just the whole spiritual space was on planetary magic. And I found that was very, very fascinating. And I had some things that I'm looking into or kind of looking into now that I have like this stronger foundation for things. But another thing that I like to consider, this is just something that I like doing personally, is looking at your relationship with your sun placement. Is this something that, where's your sun at in your chart? Is it in an angular house? Is it in a succeedant house? Is it in a cadent house? How's it aspected? What sign is it in? Just how do you understand that divine light, the inspiration that comes through, and how you understand what the sun means to you? I feel this can be a great way to just connect with your chart and your energies on just a deeper level. So just some little tools there, but enough about the sun. Let's talk about the moon. Because on the 6th of October, the moon is going to be entering into Sagittarius at about 4:34 p.m. and that's going to be Pacific time. And she's entering into she's in a waxing crescent phase right now. In the waxing crescent phase, that's just a time where we're starting to get into the planning phase. You're thinking about the intentions that are maybe coming up, the insights that are happening, that the seeds that you wanted to sow for this intention, and learning a bit more about that, gathering some information, making some contacts, maybe getting curious about looking into, let's say if you're wanting to go, let's say this happened in your 9th house, maybe you want to travel to Spain, maybe it's looking into different like Spanish courses, or maybe looking on YouTube, getting familiar with how the language sounds and how that, or even maybe experimenting with different cuisines possibly even. So just getting curious. and playing around with those kind of, and playing around in that field. But the moon in Sagittarius is the mutable fire sign. They're ruled by Big Papa, Jupiter, and they're masculine. Their gender is masculine, so there's this active force that happens with Sagittarius. And when we're thinking about that, it's like, what are some things that can really help you get the energies moving that are going to fuel your growth? Sagittarius, I feel, is one that's always ready for an adventure, always looking for something to get them optimistic, to get them enthusiastic, to get them, there's a lust for life, I feel, that can come with Sagittarius energy in whatever field that you're looking to grow and expand on. So while the moon is here, and the thing too, the moon is under the dispositorship of Jupiter, and so who's in Gemini. And so this could be, considering that there's a square happening between the two, this could be learning something new. You're like learning something that you haven't learned before, that can maybe spark some new interest, that can really kind of pique your desire, really kind of get you, just make yourself more interesting. You know, you are with you more than anybody else. So if you ever find yourself like, oh my goodness, I'm bored, well, let's fix that. Sag, Gemini. No, and did I say in a square? I'm in an opposition. And Sag and Gemini, I feel those are two signs that they should never be bored. They have no reason to be bored. So that's just something I feel like to kind of think about with Sag. And I find too, with Sagittarius, the moon, I'd say one caveat to pay attention to this placement, especially maybe if you have some like Virgo or Pisces placements, to pay attention to any sort of particularly hot emotions, because Sag like Gemini, where Gemini's glib, Sag can be blunt and can throw around heat kind of. I remember this would have been like maybe 2 lunar cycles ago, where there was a particular Sag moon that I was like throwing out. The moon was lighting up my placements in a very unusual way, and I was just like throwing around a lot of heat. I was going through a Mars transit at the time too, so there were other factors with that as well. So that's just one thing I feel to kind of pay attention to as well. Now let's talk about the void of course, and then we'll get into the reading here. Because on Mars Day, the 8th of October, the moon is going to go void of course from about 10:53 a.m. until Mercury Day, the 9th of October, into about 2:38 a.m. And again, that's Pacific time. So we're looking at about a 15-hour, 45-minute void of course. And when I'm doing the void of course and working with this stuff, I'm just working with the traditional planets. So that's the moon, well, the sun up into Saturn. And the aspect that the last aspect that she forms in that void of course usually flavors that void of course period of time, and she's forming a sextile with Mercury. And sextiles are excitable energy. They can bring about different, it's like they're Venusian in nature, so there's this excitement. It's just like, ooh, okay, like, yeah, I want to learn this new language, or I want to learn this new cooking thing, or maybe this is something that's happening in your 4th house, and so maybe you're wanting to expand your space, or maybe you're wanting to do some reestablish a bond with your parents, or maybe you want to become a parent, so you got to get your home space ready for that. But whatever this is looking like, the void of course period, one thing I like to think of this as a time to reflect on what happened during this time while the moon was in Sagittarius. What were some signals, some signs that came up for you? And with that sextile Mercury, what did you learn from that as well? What kind of insights did you get from that? But the void of course time is normally is a period of time where it's not favorable to start things up. It's like start up any sort of new things. If you got any sort of like existing project that you're building upon, of course. But like starting something brand new, I'd be mindful about during that period of time, because you may not feel the same way about it when the moon shifts into Capricorn. You know, there may not be that same sort of passion there that was initially if you had started it when the moon was just freshly into Sagittarius. So that's just something to keep in mind of. I also think this is a great time too to do some meditation, just to kind of go in and check in with the body. How are you feeling? What's going on? And getting some rest and doing some deep breathing, some meditation, some things that just help you get into the flow and just to kind of really nourish the body. Maybe you've been really busy during this period of time, and now it's like, let's do yourself like a self-care day. Maybe go get your nails painted, or maybe go get yourself a new shirt, or maybe go out for a walk in nature, whatever that's looking like. Again, something to get the energies moving when we're talking about with Sagittarius. So think that's all I got for you there. So let's go ahead and switch over to the get to this tarot here. And last couple of things, these readings that I do, they're not gender specific readings. So apply these energies to people as they make sense for your situations. And before we jump into this thing, I want to ring this bell here, bringing some good vibes here, get you all centered and been settled for this reading. So adjust your volume if you need to, but I'm gonna ring this bell a few times and then we will get into it. Groovy. And you know what this did remind me? If you're wanting to work with these lunar or work with these lunar cycles more closely, down in the description box below I have a link for the lunar groups that I host each month. And if you want to get some more information about that, feel free to definitely reach out to me either on YouTube or I have a link to, because I have a description for like what is included in that and the other services that I offer down there as well. So that is definitely available for you as well, whether you want to work with your lunar return, solar return, or just to get familiar with your natal chart there. So a bunch of options down there for you. But let's go ahead and get into your general energy of the day. Very interesting. We got some Empress vibes coming in here because you got the third card, that's Empress energy. But you have the Armadillo Spirit, which is a card of set healthy boundaries. And I feel with this card, when we're talking about setting boundaries, I'm not just getting the fact of just setting them. I'm getting this message of it's your responsibility to uphold the boundaries. It's not anyone else's job. And if you set the intention and you set these boundaries and people continue to cross them, then it's not them to blame if we keep letting them cross them. You know, like it's where it's like, okay, well, if you're not going to respect me, then I'm going to respectfully remove myself from this situation because now you're starting to affect my abundance. Or I'm giving you the power to accept my abundance and cross these boundaries when you have no power over me. I have autonomy over me. And I'm getting whether this is with someone else. I'm even getting a message of maybe even setting some healthy boundaries with yourself. Like when you say you're not going to do something, respecting that as far as like where I'm not going to put myself in a certain relationship anymore. I'm not going to indulge in a certain substance anymore, or I'm going to insert whatever thing that you're trying to do. Make sure that you're respecting your own boundaries, because if you have a hard time doing that with yourself, it's going to be hard for doing that with others as well. And I feel too like I'm even getting an idea of like, or getting a message of like protecting your ideas, even something along those lines, like not allowing others. Because have you ever said that or ever noticed that, like how I've like if you I know I've sometimes have said in the past, I've gotten way better about that, saying like, oh, you made me feel some type of way, or you gave me this, or you did this, me that. It's like I'm like at the time I was like felt like reflecting on that, it's like I really gave a lot of people a lot of power over me, and it didn't serve my abundance any good. But as soon as I started to take control and really state these boundaries and set these things, then either the people respected that or they fell by the wayside. And then people, when you set healthy boundaries, then healthy people come through as well, because then they learn how there's this energy of like even communication that's even coming through. I'm getting like a magician energy that's coming through there, some swords that are coming through. But let's get some tarot on this and get some details with this armadillo. Oh, swords energy, right. Power of the word. I'm with it, spirit. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Thank you, spirit. Oh, look at your abundance. So you have the Ace of Swords, the Knight of Disc, the Hermit card, which is Virgo energy, and then the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Cups, the Ten of Disc, and the Princess of Swords here. And this Princess of Swords can be, I mean, look what's going on in her background. There, I feel when we have I feel like when we allow others to, maybe it's like other ideas or others thoughts and things to pervade our energy, to come through there. It keeps us it keeps us from, it ungrounds us in a sense, is what I'm getting with this. And I feel this Hermit card is looking at what are some ways, reflecting on maybe how you've been kind of showing up, maybe how you've been setting these boundaries. Again, whether it be with yourself or with others, and have things been really like a little chaotic here? Have we been swept up with maybe with news that has been going on around us? Maybe this is paying attention to how, yeah, the conversations, the music even that I feel like is coming through, the things that you're reading. A lot of stuff is coming through with this. And the Ten of Cups, this is Mars and Pisces. And I feel with this, there's this, dream that maybe you're having, this thing that you're wanting to contain, this idea that's coming to the mix. And I almost, there's even something here with that Princess of Swords to the Ace of Swords about letting others even influence your action. You may have been feeling really inspired about and really grounded in an idea. You maybe felt even beaming about it. And then something comes through, a doubt, a fear, whatever this is. And this may not be something, and it's not here, but I'm getting even like a Six of Cups vibes where maybe you've had this thought, but then some sort of old narrative maybe comes in, maybe something that you pick up where you maybe felt silly to dream, or maybe felt like your dreams aren't something that couldn't be grounded. But if you can hold it in your head, you can hold it in your hand, but it's definitely going to take some work. And you know what, this Hermit, the Cerberus down here represents the hounds coming in, that they want that light. They want what you have. And it's not that anyone's coming to take something from you. No one can take anything from you. Not if we don't allow it. And I know that there are circumstances that could be, but if you have let's say you have an ambition for a job, you're wanting to move up, you want to get into a King of Cups, King of Cups, a Knight of Discs sort of, and that's the King of Pentacles. You wanted to get into a certain managerial position possibly, but it seems like that that management doesn't want you to move up. You don't have to stay there. No one's keeping you there. No one's holding you hostage. I know there could be where, I'll have to start over. I'll have to do all these things. Well, you got big dreams and you got big goals, and you have these desires, and I just got a message of just how bad do you want it? And not even looking at it in a way where you're judging yourself. Because I feel like deep down it's you want this thing. And if we have to take a pivot, if we have to make it work, if we have to do something else, this Hermit is maybe even reflecting on the pros and cons. But Virgo is efficient. And I mean, you got the Ten of Disc is Mercury in Virgo. Where there's a will, there's a way, and you can figure this out. Whatever this Ace of Swords is. So I feel like it's, again, not letting any sort of doubts, and I'm thinking internal voices too with that Princess of Swords, because the Princess of Swords, she is very cunning, she's very crafty, very intelligent, but she can become her own worst enemy if she's not mindful, if she continues to cross her boundaries. Let's get some more with this. you know, when we speak next, Jupiter's going to be going retrograde soon. And I feel that Jupiter is, his energy is not as strong in Gemini, or just needs to be worked with a bit more. And so we may need to find some other resources, or really just kind of reflect on how we've been showing up and how we've let others, just let situations maybe control a situation. Right. Thank you, Spirit. Let's see what's going on here. So you have the 7 of Cups, the 3 of Discs, the 8 of Discs, and then the Knight of Swords, and that's the Knight of Swords. But with the King of Swords, Knight of Swords, he's focused. When he sets his intentions on something, he's going at it steadfast. He's willing to put in the work. This 3 of Discs. And find people who are going to support that work. And maybe it's even finding people, if you're noticing that your environment, the people around you are not able to do that at this time, and it may just be where they're at on this journey. That's fine, but it's like, who can we get into? It's like getting into a different collaboration, something that can help you keep this drive, because the 7 of Cups, this keeps the energy stagnant. It keeps the energy even kind of scattered a little bit. But this is Venus in Scorpio, and that's where Venus is at right now, and where you're feeling really strong, and you're just it's just, look at this card. It's just all swampy. Things the dream has been tainted, is what I'm getting. The boundaries have been just, they've been crossed. They've been dissolved, is even the word that I'm getting here. And this 8 of Discs, I feel, there's a lot of work that's coming through here. A lot of energies, I feel like, in need of staying grounded. You know, no one can, or let me put it this way. You can seek all the advice, you can seek all of the things, but no one can make you do the work, to do the action, to uphold the boundaries. It's not anyone else, like I was saying, it's not anyone else's job to uphold this, what you're wanting to do. That's where you come in staying steadfast. And I like this too, with this king of Discs to the King of Swords. He's keeping the idea and keeping it firm. You know, and moving and being flexible when you need to be, when you've noticed that something isn't sustainable, when something's just not doing it anymore. Let me get a little bit more with the 8 of Discs here. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Spirit. So you got the 5 of Stars, which is the 5 of Pentacles, and the Tower. That lack mentality. This is the things that are just taking and taking and taking. And it's like, if you don't change the environment, then something is going to help you change it. And I feel like this could be where, for example, you've just reached a point where you've had it, and you just say something reactive, and then there it is. Because Mars is going to be in Cancer for quite a while, and he'll go into Leo to about 6 degrees, and he's going to come right back. And Mars is just as hot in Leo too. I got Mars natally in Leo. Let me tell you, but this Tower is saying that it doesn't have to be something that you have to wait for something like an extreme situation in order to change a circumstance. If you're noticing that something is not giving what you need, and it's got you in a place where you're feeling stuck, maybe even like changing your environment in the sense of like changing the space to meditate on this thing. Like maybe instead of like if you've been just kind of ruminating in your place, again, maybe getting outside, going to a park. A change of scenery can bring about some really great insights to just help get this swamp moving. Because the thing with the Seven of Cups, this is for this in this deck, this is my prelude to a devil moment, and where we could fall into where we can get into some pitfalls in things along those lines. So and I'm beginning with like this Five of Stars. You know, this is Mercury and Taurus. It's not focusing on what you don't have. It's focusing on what you do. Because I like there are very few places that Mercury has maybe troubles functioning in, where Mercury needs to kind of dig in some different, you know, work differently. But this Mercury and Taurus, this Five of Stars, if we see lack or if we see this thing, that's all there's going to be. But if we can change up what, instead of like how do we expand the resources that we do have, work with the tools that are in your tool belt, you can do a lot. But this may be a time here because you start off like you're and I said I had mentioned Empress energy, and then you get the Ten of Pentacles and the Ten of Cups. As those are very strong cards. Your wish fulfillment, and then that fulfillment being sustained. And it's revealing itself to you. It's being created. It's manifesting. So yeah, just something to hermit on. Let's get some advice from Big Papa. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Thanks, Spirit. All right, last little bit here. Got the Ten of Wands here. And let's switch back over. Because look, on this Ten of Wands, this guy's card of oppression. Saturn and Sagittarius. What's restricting the energy? What's keeping you from moving that fire, from moving that heat? And because otherwise, I feel like when you keep yourself trapped, and then, you know, that healthy boundary, maybe you've set yourself up. I'm even thinking of like I'm getting like an Eight of Swords energy, where it's like maybe you've put a boundary around yourself that's like this, like maybe you think like this is it, this is all that I'm just gonna be doing, but that doesn't feel like that's not the case. I feel with this Ten of Wands, where this can be a card of where it's like you're needing where it can feel like a burden to keep the energy going, but when you work with Saturn and you put in the work that you know you need to do, because this feels like something where where we could get to a point where it's just like you've had enough, and it's just like circumstances need to change because the vision something has gotten out of whack, or something has been detoured, or something like that. When you work with Saturn and you put in this change, and you put in that you channel into your energy into that Ten of Cups, that Ten of Wands, we can bring, the tens are completion. You can bring things to a close in order for a new beginning to start, and to start with a fresh mint, just a fresh. We have newer boundaries, and we're keeping them locked in where we're. And I'm getting almost like we're not hiding away, because I'm thinking of how the armadillo will just kind of just curl itself up, but you can't stay like that forever. You know, I feel like that, and that's something too. Maybe with this hermit, maybe you've been in this place where something's been pent up for too long, and it's needing to move. It's keeping you. It may be keeping you in a place where you're feeling more limited. You're feeling more limited than you actually are. And I even think with this Knight of Swords, this Knight of Disc, that maybe even talking with people who can bring you a more grounded approach, someone who respects your boundaries, who's been there for you. and someone who can really bring you perspective. That might be something too to talk with. And if you don't have someone like that, finding someone who can do that. Whether you're talking with a coach, maybe you're looking at someone online, possibly, even if you don't think that you can afford something like that, then there are numerous resources out there for us to work with, and that you can find some value with, and just get out of this space. However that may be looking for you. All right, but I think I'm gonna leave that there. I like this. I feel like this can be a reset. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting like a reset energy with this. Whew. But yeah, if you like that, if anything resonated with you, give it a thumbs up. And share this if you know someone who could benefit from this, who can find some nuggets of wisdom to help get this energy moving. And then subscribe there, you hermit. Hit that bell button to get notified on all these videos each day. And then last little bit, if you're wanting to know what's going on in the celestial heavens, I think that's the same thing. If you want to know what's going on with the sky, with the celestial bodies, come on over to my other channel, Alchemist 8, where I talk about the weekly transits. And I also do these little mini videos that I've been doing, talking about different planets and the North and South Node in different points or different signs and different houses. And all that housekeeping is down in the description box below. But let me get your surprise cards here. Or card. So I can get you out of here. Very interesting. Thank you, Spirit. So you have the Forgive Release card here. And this is a card of, is it time to release and heal? And you know what? If this situation resonates with you, I feel that this is, once you're past it, sending this stuff love and light. And I know how that sounds. Like maybe you had a real intense experience or whatever this may be looking like. But if you hold on to that thing, then it just it's like that Five of Pentacles. If we just focus on what we don't want, then that's what we continue to attract, because where attention goes, energy flows. But if we're focusing on our Ten of Cups, our Ten of Pentacles, the things that we do want, I want to be in a healthy working environment. I want to be in a healthy relationship. I want to be in a healthier living situation. I want to have a healthier connection with Source, whatever this career. I find when you focus on that, releasing the old allows more of the new to come in, so that you can come from this more kind of healed place, come from a place of wisdom. Even what I feel that Saturn and Sagittarius was coming to, that advice from Jupiter is going to be, because listen, there's work that's coming through this. This is not just going to be something where if you wish it enough, it's going to happen. You'll get the insights for it. But this is a need, I feel like, to have, like, it's a faith in action. You know what I mean? When you get this sign where it's like, hey, this food substance isn't sitting well with you. Hey, the way you're spending your resources is not going to be sustainable. Whatever this is. Yeah, if we can release, and I love this, how this has this little, very similar to the Hermit, how there's this light here that's focusing. Focus on that sun, and forgive the past is what I'm giving, because the past, that foundation, is what helps make us, is what keeps us grounded in the future, is what keeps motivating us, because we did learn something, but we're not going to put up with. What we're not going to do. So, but again, we're not just going to sit there and like, I'll never do this again. I'll never do that. It's like, no, I'm just going to keep doing the things that are towards my highest vibration. That's towards this elevate, just really speaking and working from a more, just a higher higher place. We're not matching energies. We're transcending energies. Why stay in that where we're trying to combat something like that? Instead of tackling the wall, let's jump over that wall. Let's jump over that boundary and go higher. You know? Keep the dream alive. And forgive yourself. That may be something too. Because maybe you may find yourself kind of beating yourself up like, how could I have let this happen? How could this have... life does what it does sometimes. It can be a mysterious thing. But I find when you reflect, hermit, on what has gone on, that it makes sense. The dream makes sense, or where you end up makes a lot more sense as far as like how you can utilize what you've learned. So I think I'll leave that there. So until next time, keep raising that consciousness and keep eyes on the moon. And I will catch you on the next one, Mercury Day.